we all know from the email blast that we do have a featured segment for today. Anyone who can remember what's the... But it's already flashed, so yes. Very
Excited.
Very watchful of the time. Alright, so today we will have our featured segment is My Career a Dead End. And to start off this part of the program, let us call on to give us an inspirational message or give us some words before we proceed with the interview proper. We have the Global Learning Excellence Senior Manager, L&D Country Prime for the Philippines, with Sir Doc Vic Katanghal.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning!
Energy na hinahanap natin. How's everybody?
Happy!
So I echoed the question earlier. Marami na ba kayong kilala na TLs who are outside of your program? I think that's the purpose of this session and the future sessions. To get to know each other, each of your co-TLs. Kasi maganda that we all have networks. So I know a lot of you have gone through iAspire. We've talked, we've met. So a lot of things I might say today you might have heard, but some of them not. And some of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. Fortunate for you, I guess, or unfortunate, I don't know. Let's see. But thank you, team, for inviting us, L&D, today. Let's talk about career. Kasi nga yun nga yung purpose natin. The question is my career a dead end? Right? And what is flashing on the screen is probably something you've seen before. Have you seen this concept before? Fixed and growth mindset. Who has seen this already? Raise your hand. Okay, sige. So before that, can I ask everybody to please stand up? So fresh na galing kay Reggie ha. Nung Friday lang namin napag-usapan. So everyone please stand up. And can everyone please try to reach up high as you can go. Highest, pinaka-high. Pinaka-high. As in yun na yun? Okay, if that is the highest, can you go a bit higher ba? Kaya ba? Kaya? Okay, sige. Alright, thank you. Can you please sit down? Thank you. So when you thought na hanggang dun lang siya, nakaya nyo ba kahit mga 1 millimeter? Were you able to extend? Yes. Yeah. So when we think that we are at a certain level, always remember we can still do more. Kaya pa yan. Right? And that kind of ties into this concept by Carol Dweck. It's called the fixed and the growth mindset. And it's almost self-explanatory, but there's a book behind it. Right? So as leaders, you know, we would like to be in the growth mindset. Kasi kita naman dyan eh. Right? In the fixed mindset, it's always staying stagnant. Diba? I can't do it, hanggang dito lang ako. But with the growth mindset, you always grow. And as team leaders, this is where we want to go. Correct? Yes, they agree?
Yes.
Alright, so I know that you may have seen this already. Now, I invite you to go to another concept. The level up for you leaders would be the infinite mindset. Have you heard of that? Infinite mindset. Because Simon Sinek naman ito. We all know Simon Sinek? Yes?
Yes.
So, ano yung first book ni Simon Sinek? Do you remember?
Why?
What is your why? What's the second book? Leaders Eat Last, correct. Ma'am Joy. What's the third book? The third book is on the next slide. If you go to the next slide, it is the Infinite Game. Ano tong Infinite Game? First, okay lang natin. What is this Infinite Game? What is the Infinite Game? It's what's being shown before you. So, to make it simple, because I only have a few minutes lang, infinite game versus the finite game. So sabi ni Simon Sinek, leaders play two games, the finite game and the infinite game. The finite game, think of football, basketball, baseball, volleyball. These are finite games. Why are they finite games? Because of the following. May set purpose tayo. May guidelines. There are a certain number of players. There is a condition whether to win or to lose. It is very structured. Versus the infinite game. my best versus the infinite game. So for example, if the finite game, your purpose is to win, in the infinite game, the purpose is to improve the game. If the example of the finite game are basketball, baseball, football, an example of the infinite game would probably be the Cold War. So you're familiar with the Cold War between Russia and the US, di ba? Patagalan ito. It was a move to advance their own cause. Walang set parameters hanggang kailan ba tong war na to. Walang set number of players, may namamatay, may nabubuhay, because it was to advance a specific cause. Right? So that is the difference between the finite game and the infinite game. Finite game, winners exclude losers, winners take all, aims are identical, rules are fixed, almost a debate. Whereas if you look at the infinite game, winners teach losers, aims are diverse, it becomes more complex, rules change, it depends. Right? Why is this important for leaders to understand? Kasi if you look at it in the context of career development, what is your career? Tingnan nyo sa finite game, your view of the career, if you are playing the finite game as a leader, your view of your career would be to make more money, my advancement, ano bang next job ko, how can I be higher than the others. Ganun yun usually if you have a finite view and you're playing the finite game. Whereas if you are playing the infinite game as leaders, you use your career as an opportunity to advance your cause, your just cause. So according to Simon Sinek, if you are at that infinite mindset, there are certain conditions. And the first of those is you are able to advance a just cause. Diba tinatanong ko sa IASPAR, what is your leadership purpose? Very common question ko yan eh. My next question, hindi ko tinatanong kasi next question na to eh. Now kayo leaders in your position, what is your just cause? What is the cause that you are advancing? Right? So if you ask the question, is my career at a dead end? Ano ba ang perspective niyo in terms of your career? Are you playing the finite game or the infinite game? Do you have a just cause that you use your career to advance? Right? So if you go to the next slide. So for example, ayan, for my just cause, personally is to enable individuals to lead through learning and authenticity so that they may be inspired and they continue to inspire people. And as you know and as you see, with how I do my work, whether I was an officer, as a manager, as an advisor, as I talk to the site leads, it's to advance this cause, right? So it's not just taking jobs for money or skills advancement. It's utilizing the job and the career to advance the cause that I believe in. So I guess the question I want to ask, and I'm about to end in a few seconds, is for you, if you go to the next slide, what is your just cause? Do you have any? Or maybe it's time to start thinking what your just cause is as a leader. Diba? Now that you've established, I hope you've established your leadership purpose, diba? Ngayon, what cause are you advancing as a leader? Right? Or is it really just about the position? Is it about the money? Kasi you'll be at that finite mindset. Whereas if you play that infinite game, right, maybe you can view career in a different way. And you can use that to advance your cause. So what is your just cause? And how are you viewing your career at this point? And this is the perfect opportunity, like-minded great leaders such as yourselves, to talk to each other. Ano bang cause natin? Diba? At maganda nga na we are all here. Alam mo, hindi nangyayari to in all sites. And I can tell you that kasi I go around sites. Right? Yung nagkakasama lahat ng PLs. So this is your opportunity to know and learn from each other. Right? Yung sinasabi ko kanina, absenteeism and attrition, wouldn't it be amazing if, saan pag-usapan namin yung Ubi ko, wouldn't it be amazing if hindi lang kayo sa isang department, inter-department to, pinapaganda niyo yung attrition absenteeism niyo in one side. Diba? The heights you guys can achieve is limitless. And lastly, underline the courage to lead and to inspire. I keep saying in I Aspire, our roles first and foremost is to inspire people in everything that you do. Diba? Yung pinapakita nyo hirap na kayo sa logistics, sa admin nyo, when agents approach you and then you say, pwede teka, are you inspiring at that point? The things that you post in Facebook, it's really none of our business. But remember, as a leader, you hold a certain position of influence. And if you air your dirty laundry in Facebook, right? In fact, there's this one OM I saw, hindi taga dito. He was posting conversations about the agent, hanash niya sa agent. How can you be inspiring if you are, it's difficult. So as leaders, diba, have that infinite mindset, know your just cause, or at least develop it, and then underline the courage to lead and inspire people. So if you want to learn more about that, you can read Simon Sinek's third book, The Infinite Game. It's on sale in the bookstores. Wala pa akong stock kay Simon Sinek, pero maganda po siya. I've read it already. It will be a good reading for you. And I guess that's it. Thank you for the invite. I hope you guys all the best. And please learn from each other, right? And hope to see you soon in our next conversations. Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you, Doc Vic. Always rich talk whenever you are invited in conventions or programs like this.
Yes. I guess I have that good takeaway. No? Would it be great if Bertice North as a whole, whether your program is Hertzberg, Coinbase, Solutron, Via, we're all fixing absenteeism and nutrition together, right? And yes, I'm gonna figure out my just cause. Alright. So, we're gonna move on to the next portion of our program. Okay. So we also have invited some guests to join us today to talk about career growth, career dead-ends, and we'll be having the privilege to ask them some questions in an interview. So let's introduce our guests. Mariel?
Alright, first to join us today has 7 years experience in the BPO industry. She likes to sleep, read, and watch Netflix on her free time. No other than, let us all welcome Ms. Grace Calma, our HR manager for Bertice.
Alright. Good morning, Grace. Thank you. Our next guest has 16 years of BPO industry experience. He spends his free time at the gym or at home watching Netflix. Mabenta Netflix sa mga natin, sa guests natin. Thank you for gracing us here with time and presence today. Let's welcome Rodela Hanoya, one of our customer experience managers.
Welcome, Sir Rodel. Next of our guest has 18 years of experience in this industry. On his free time, he spends it doing wood or metal works, and he is also a bird hobbyist. Let us all welcome Boss KB.
Alright, last but not the least, he has 18 years of BPO experience. And he is fond of collecting stuff and selling them online. Our very own Director of Operations, Jesse Jason Kula. Alright, and to all our team leaders, do you guys know our guests? Or is this the first time we've met some of them? Alright. So again, Grace is our HR manager. Rodela Hanoya, known as OJ, is one of our senior managers. We have Boss KB, one of the senior operations managers from T-Mobile. We also have Boss JC, one of our operations directors. Alright.
Partner should be easy. Because, yeah. Okay, again, good morning, guests. And we're that you have, spared some of your time for us on our first start at TL Con. I know we will learn a lot from you today.
Don't get nervous. I
Yeah.
heard Boss KB saying he's nervous. It's not a personal question, Boss KB. Alright. So, again, good morning, our dear guests, and thank you for being with us today. We're really honored to have you being featured in our first ever TL convention. And definitely, we all know, and our leaders here know, we've learned a lot from you today. So, let me start with this first question.
Parang crispy kasi.
Hindi naman, pero pwede naman may points tayo.
Parang gusto mo.
O kaya puputok mo na ng lolo bago sasagot. Ganda? Alright, so this is our first question for you. Have you ever been in this dead-end situation? Or what did you think a dead-end is in your career?
What's the go?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. Alright.
Champion yan.
Ano yung sarap?
Oo,
Yan.
yung champion. Ito po siya po yun. Siya
What's
po
your name?
yun.
Michael.
Hi everyone, good morning.
Morning.
So, I think way back when I was still working with another company, another BPO company. And as an HR, it is natural for us to help, right? But if the that cost is no longer fulfilled, I think I felt that way in terms of me having my dead end in my career. I felt that way before. But again, there's always that timing in life wherein you would feel that way. It's always something that you should be able to help yourself with. Kasi hindi talaga siya maiwasan. It's unavoidable and it comes and it goes. So it's only you that can help yourself. No matter no matter the coach is saying to you, like your mentors, ganyan, if you're not willing to go through that hump, then nothing will come out.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Your turn, Jose.
for me, I think so. I think everyone goes through that stage, right? But like what Dick mentioned a while ago, it really depends on you, right? So you have to really find what motivates you, what's your motivation, and if you have a specific goal, then it's important that you work for that goal.
Alright, find what motivates you.
How long do we have? Do we have an hour?
Yeah, I think so. I think we can. Because guys, Boss Game is very much prepared for this session.
Alright, so I agree with OJ and Grace. It's relative. It's dependent on you. I have gone through that personally. Other people think that I'm at a dead-end situation, but in essence, I'm not. It's just a matter of perspective. My career is okay, but what I consider significant progress is. Thank you. This last for another 30 minutes. Okay. So what's important for me is that how I balance my work, the work-life balance per se. It might appear that my career has taken a backseat, but it's not. I never shied away from any challenges. In the perspective of others, it's a dead end, but it's not. What I find fun and enjoyment is how I do my work and enjoy time with my family. I have 3 kids, 22 being the eldest. My second kid is 10. And then my
I
youngest.
thought you're a Gen Z, Boss
Yeah, I'm
Game.
Gen Z. My youngest is 3. I'm working on the fourth. I'll let you know what's extra.
Good look out. Alright, Boss Jessie.
So to wrap up, everything that they said are true. But you know, specific to our role, no, as support or leaders in our own way. So everyone feels sometimes that you're stuck in the position for quite some long time already, right? And sometimes you feel that it's a dead end. For me, I've experienced that twice. First, when I was a team member 17 years ago, and I applied for an SME position. So I was very eager kasi during that time, I'm a tech support agent. So my goal or siguro my 1-year goal is to become an SME to support team members who are having difficulty troubleshooting customers' issue. I didn't get that. Assessment pa lang bumagsak na ako. So I didn't fail once, I failed twice. So for me parang ano ba, hanggang dito na lang ba yung career ko, I cannot move to the next level. So like what Dick said, right? You can be finite, can be infinite, right? So finite meaning you already declared yourself na hanggang dito na lang ako. Right? Or you work your opportunities kasi sometimes, right, even for team members, kaya it's very important to follow knowledge base. Bakit? I always use my stock knowledge. So when I started taking the assessment, I failed. Kasi the way I answered the assessment is based on my stock knowledge rather than following the right process. So doon pa lang learning experience na yun. So basically, what you need to do is to learn from the mistakes rather than taking it na parang, ay, hindi, dito na lang ako. So if that mindset sticks to me before, then I won't be moving to the next level, which is an SME. Another story, so nagtaga ko na, para at least medyo relatable, especially for those newly promoted team leaders here. And then for those team leaders who are already seasoned team leaders. So, I've been senior manager then after 2004. So after 8 years, I became senior manager. And then, syempre, as you learn, as you develop yourself, you start to apply for a director. So I applied for a director position. Again, I failed twice. Yeah. So, I asked myself, will that be the end of my career in the industry na hanggang senior manager na lang ba ako? Right? But, I learned from that opportunity, right? Ano ba yung mga feedback sa akin? Mag-ayos ka ng, you have to act like a director. If you want to be a director, you have to make sure that when you talk to people, you make an impact. It's not enough for you to be, call center savvy, meaning you know the ins and outs of the business, financials, everything. It's not enough. You need to know how to make an impact and how you can really talk to people, to clients that will really sell the business. Kasi you're the face of the organization every time you're selling something, right? You're pitching for a new business, you're pitching for growth. So you are the face of the company. So that's something that you need to develop. And that's not easy, that's very difficult. Because feeling mo, kala mo, nandun ka na sa stage na yun, and then hindi pa pala. So, you really have to work on that. And I don't read books. I really hate reading books. And I really hate reading. So, nag-invest talaga ako ng time magpasa. I read this book called Executive Presence. Nakalimutan ko na yung author. Kasi nga, I don't like books. Pero binasa ko siya. Kinaril ko talaga, binasa ko. So, nandun lahat yung mga stories about, being in the company or in the industry for 10, 15 years, bakit hinahinayal tong external na to, mas magaling ako sa kanya, alam ko na lahat, right? Pero kasi siya, yung tao yun kasi alam niya kung paano niya i-sell yung company, how to take the company to the next level. It's not enough that you know what you're capable of. You need to learn also how to grow yourself, di ba? So you need to be creative as well. Kasi if you're just status quo all the time, then it will not help you grow. You have to learn other things, and you need to learn how to go out of the box. And you need to go out of your comfort zone. Yan, very important yan. For your career, para hindi mo ma-feel na dead end yung career mo. It's not easy, guys. It's not really easy. Alam niyo yan, right? It's not easy. For those who are newly promoted TL, you did not become a TL na ganun-ganun lang, right? You have to go through a lot of experience. And then when you start handling a team, you've experienced a lot of birth pains as well, right? Mahirap mag-handle ng team. Diba? So yeah, share ko lang sa inyo because those are the things that you will be feeling. And it's up to you whether you want to grow or you want to be contented in terms of your position already. So the hunger for growth and the hunger to learn. And then if you fail, what can you do to come back? That's very important. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Ms. Becky.
Okay, so maybe with the thoughts that were shared by our guests, my next question, I think I would like to ask this to Miss Grace and then Boss KB to share their insights. Because Boss Jesse mentioned assessing yourself, knowing what you can do, and knowing when to challenge your career or getting out of your comfort zone. However, there may be times that a person or me personally would be shy to ask our supervisors or superiors that, do you think I'm already ready for the next level? So how do you want, or what's your advice on starting career or challenging career conversations with your team members or your subordinates?
Challenging conversation. How do I say this? Sorry, you're saying that.
How do I ask for career conversation? How do I know that, boss, do you think I'm ready for the next level? How do I start?
How do you start? Okay, of course, it all starts with having a regular session. Have that touch base, regular connect with your leader, and then from there you could work your way up in terms of asking certain competencies that you think you're developing. Ask whether, okay, sir, how am I doing in terms of presentation? You think I'm improving on the analytical skills? So be particular with the skills that you're asking. And then eventually you can ask a question, sir, you think I'm ready for the next level? Right? It has to start somewhere. You can't go in and barge in and ask that question, sir, you think I'm ready to replace Owi today? Right? So you can't go through that. It has to follow a certain progression. It starts with certain skill sets and then followed by the overall perception that am I ready for the next level?
Thank you, Boss KB.
Alright, so I think for my team, it's huwag kayong mahihiya, at least for my team, to ask your leaders, what am I lacking? So that's the first question that you will have to ask your leaders. Because if you wouldn't know it all, right? So your leaders are there for a reason. And they would really tell you, and they would appreciate it if you would ask those questions. Because it's also for them, right? For them to mold you to be better leaders, right? Someday. And you should have, that's correct, KB, to have a regular session with your leaders, at least for my team, once a week, so that we would know and really assess where you're lacking, where you're good at, what your strengths are, and also your weaknesses. Para at least when you're at the point na you're almost ready, you can really see and experience things before you are already there.
I totally agree. I think it's a two-way, right? I mean, even if we're really good at what we do, I think if we don't know how to reach out and seek help,
Yes.
right? It would really be hard to travel through the growth that you wanted to be at. Sure.
So I just want to add, so since we are all people leaders here, right? So your question is your agents or your people will, ask that question, right? But as people leaders, I think what's important is we need to be ready for that question. So that's why you really need to know your agents or the people below you, right? So you need to know their competencies, their skills, and definitely you need to know their career path, because that is where you will come in and help your direct reports, right? Let's say, for example, if one of your direct reports wants to be in workforce, then you might want to help your team member to get crash courses, online courses, whatever.
Right. Totally agree with that, OJ. And also, us ourselves, guys, right? I'm pretty sure we all wanted to move up. Is that right? And we just want to be team leaders for the rest of our lives. Right? Alright. I think we'll move on to our next question. So this question, I'm gonna ask this to OJ and to Boss Jesse. So if you could do it all over again, would you choose the same path for yourself? Or if not, what would you change?
So the question is, if I'll do it over again, will I choose the same path? Well, I think so. So, I haven't really had plans in mind, right? Or any goals in mind when I started my career. So, after college, I started working in a bank, Citibank in particular, right? And I never imagined myself to be working in a BPO industry, right? But in everything that I do, or maybe this is for us also, in everything that you do, you have to really do your best, right? Be responsible in yourself and with other people in the company, or maybe with your family. So be responsible and do the best that you could in your whatever you're doing, because that is when you will be able to develop and discover yourself, discover your limits, discover your capabilities, so that if in case there will be an opportunity that will come in, then maybe you would realize that I'm fit for this role, right? I'm ready for this role. So again, with your question, so because that is how I discovered my capabilities, right? And I don't think I would want to change that that way how I discovered myself. So yeah, I am not gonna change any.
Thank you, OJ. Boss Jesse.
Hello. Yeah. I agree with Rodel regarding not changing, because the path that we took, or the path that you took for yourselves, is a learning path. So if you get to correct those things, na itatama mo lahat na wala kang pagkakamali, it's going to be difficult for you to learn and to grow. So mistakes, issues, opportunities, challenges are always part of growing. Diba? Even we're kids, sabihin na natin not work-related. For us to become better persons, we need to learn. Right? Sometimes nga, nare-realize ko, yung mga, parang, syempre, yung mga parents dito, di ba? Pero for me kasi, parang pag nakikita mo yung mga bata na masasaktan or madadapa, you'd rather protect them to di ba? Pero nung generation natin, when we were kids, parang nadapa na tayo, nabasag na yung ipin natin, nalaglag tayo sa ganan. Okay lang di ba? Pero we learn from that, we become better persons. So, kumbaga, experience is a teacher for us. That's number one. Number two is, if it wasn't from the experience that we have, I don't think that we're all here in this position. I don't think that you guys will be leaders right now if you have not really experienced all the challenges that you have experienced. So, again, to answer the question, no, I will not change anything. I think there's a reason din naman kung bakit ito yung career path na tinik namin. And we won't be sharing this kung we opted not to follow this career.
Very insightful. Do you want to change careers, Maria?
No. No na lang. Of course, I think I would go the same path. As mentioned by the guest, We were not the person who we are today if not for those experiences. So, I thank you. Alright, for the last question of the interviewers, as we would like our audience as well to, fire questions to our guests. Maybe the last one that we'll ask from you, leaders, is the one.
This is for everybody.
This is for everybody. One best advice for people or person who's feeling that they are at this dead end feeling in their career.
Yeah. Or probably for leaders who have probably been in the position for too long and they feel like they've already given up in motivating themselves to move on. So answer first.
So I think, like what I mentioned a while ago, you have to know what motivates you. You need to find your motivation, right? And it is also important that you find your passion. If this is not, this career is not working for you, then maybe you need to find what's good for you, right? Because you might also be giving yourself, that chance to grow in a different career, right? And it's also, you're giving favor to the company because if you're not helping the company because you're demotivated in the company, then might as well, find somewhere else. I'm not saying this to find, for you to think about your career, right? But that's reality, right? So you really need to find what motivates you, your motivation and your goals in life. So
Or you try out something that you're passionate about. Grace.
Alright, so I think it's important that you do not compare yourself and your path to other people because all of us are different and we don't know what's happening with her career and another person's career. So it's important that you focus on yourself only. And then, for myself, I graduated with a different course. It's very near sa ginagawa ko ngayon. I am a licensed nurse. And who would have known that I'll be working in human resources, right? So nothing is impossible. So anything can happen. And if you would just put your best foot forward always, and you will do your best, and you know that you have the abilities, then you can really find your career, the best one for you, and you can grow with it, right?
Yes. Boss KB?
It's a difficult question. It's a difficult question. Before you could answer that, there are certain parameters that has to be accommodated.
We have 30 minutes for the parameters.
Alright. First things first, competency. Are you competent enough? Are you skilled enough to support the role that you're aspiring to? Right? And your measurement is not tied up to how you view yourself. It has to be validated by people around you, by your bosses. You might say I'm good in financials, right? Because nagpapautang ka sa floor, but not really. Right?
Ibang financing pa rin.
I'm good in managing business because I'm selling shoes, right? That's not it. We're asking for different competencies.
That's a perfect example.
Alright.
Business-minded.
Yes, that's the number one. Okay, now after you accommodated that question, yes, I'm ready. No, I'm not. I still have a long way to go. I still need to build these details here and there. Maybe in 6 months' time, maybe in a year, maybe now I'm ready based on those parameters. The second item that you need to ask yourself is appetite. Right? As a EL, this is status quo for you. You could wake up, go into your shift knowing what to do. From hour 1 to overtime hour. Right? From Monday to Sunday. Right? Like yung shift na sabi mo sa misis mo, di ba ang shift natin is Monday to Sunday. Right? Okay. Monday to Sunday. At any given time, you will go to the office, do everything that you needed to do based on the parameters required from you. Right? But your aspiration is to go to the next level. Do you have the appetite to come in as a learner, as a newbie? Do you want to forgo the status quo that you have, that you're the best in your role, but you're going into a new role wherein you're bare? You don't have anything, you have nothing to prove, or you haven't proven anything. Those things has to go hand in hand, skills and appetite. Right? And then if you say that you don't have any of those, medyo mag-isip-isip ka. Okay? Right? Because if you tell yourself, I don't have the skills, I don't have the appetite, you might be in the wrong industry. You might be doing things that you're not intended to do. Right? But if you feel you have the appetite and you have the skill, the next thing that you need to have is you need to pray. That you'll be given an opportunity to exercise what you have. And that for me is my answer to the question. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay? Sabi na natin eh. Pero, ipadagdag ako dun sa Monday to Sunday. Dito tayo mga pumapasok, 8 to palpitate.
Yes.
Mas ano yan, intense. 8 to palpitate.
Really?
Yeah. So, ano lang yan eh. So, if you're eyeing for an OM post, or a OM post for example, diba, how can you go extra mile? So, yun yung isipin niyo, in any position that you're applying for a promotion, always remember how can you go the extra mile. Because if you're doing the same thing across everyone, if you're doing the same thing, what makes you different from the other person? That's very important. If you're eyeing for a higher position, right? And then you start having that conversation with your ops manager. How can I be promoted? How can I be an OM, right? I may not have the competency right now, but competency can be developed. So yan ang pinaka-importante. And you start working with your OM in terms of developing that competency. So ano bang ginagawa ng OM? Right? So yun yung tanong mo sa ops manager mo. And then when your OM already shared with you, how can I be an OM? Right? And then you start working with your manager on how to develop. And then papasok yung mga extra projects eh. Right? There's a lot of projects that can be given to you. So wag mo isipin na, pinapasa lang sa akin yung trabaho, dapat trabaho mo yan. Pero the mere fact na they became OM, they have to go through that same exercise. So it's not passing the work to you, but helping you learning what needs to be learned. Kasi if you're used to do your daily task every day, and then you want to move up, it's not enough that you're just used to doing your regular task. You need to do something different. Right? Kasi that's an added skill set. So parang siya nilang yan eh. Have you watched Karate Kid? Or Cobra Kai? Right?
Gen Z?
Hindi, yung mga Gen X dito. Kay Ralph Macchio tayo, kay Pat Morita, hindi kay Jackie Chan. Yeah. Pinaglinis siya ng kotse, di ba? Ano yung kanyang wax on, wax off. Right? Parang ang feeling niya, pinaglinis lang siya ng kotse, tsaka pinagpintura siya ng fence, di ba? Pero after that, natuto siya mga moves na nagulat siya na yung pala yung intent ng exercise niya. Right? So sometimes we have to go through those things na, ay, inuutos lang sa akin, utos na naman. Pag weekend, ako bantay ng tindahan. But hindi nyo alam, eventually you'll learn something from that. Okay? Doon yung makikita na, oo nga, bakit parang ako lang may alam nito, yung iba, hindi pa sila familiar sa mga ganyan. Magkakaroon kayo ng ganyang moments na, like for you, parang basic, pero sa iba, wait, that's something new. Yeah. So that's why it's very important that you have those career conversations with your manager. And then you also have to decide ano bang career path ang gusto niyo. You want to go through operations, you want to go through CE, learning services, workforce. Yun ang maganda sa BPO eh, marami tayong career path. Right? Even IT, recruitment, yun yung mga posisyon na mga hindi natin na-explore masyado dito sa industry. right? But maraming career path dito sa BPO. So it's not only within operations, you can explore other career path. Nasa sa inyo na yan kung ano yung passion niyo. But for you to move up or change career, it's very important. Passion, dedication, right? And then lastly, time. You have to make time for your development. Kasi, ayun, I'll close this to say that we're all accountable to our own development. Hindi mo pwedeng sisihin si OM na, kasalanan ni OM to, hindi niya natin develop. Hindi natin pwede yun. You have to be accountable. Yung mga team members tayo na, ay, hindi ako natin na training kasi hindi ba yan? Di ba? May ganyan. Or nag-OIC, I aspire training. Hindi ako makakatin, day off ko kasi yun. Okay? Tapos magagalit na, favoritism dito. Hindi ako piniling TLOIC. Ang daming Hindi, parang, kasi inaantok na eh. Inaantok. Ay, wala akong pinapatamaan. Sabi nga ng friend ko, the world doesn't revolve around me.
Yeah.
And so, sinasabi ko na sa inyo, and I'm pretty sure that everyone can relate to that, right? So, yun lang. If you want to move up, you have to go the extra mile. So, yun yung message. Thank you.
Yes. And pray. Right, Boss Baby?
And pray.
Alright, I think it's time for our audience to ask the questions, no? So,
Do we have anyone who would like to
anyone?
ask questions?
I do.
We have Peter. I'll go to Jazz first.
Speaking of the career path, what other departments did you consider exploring and
What other departments would you consider exploring and why?
I'll answer. Training, yan ang ko. Dapat yan yung una kong parang first choice sa career. So I was teaching kasi before in college, during my, before my BPO days.
Aha moment.
So,
What subject?
when I
What subject were you
ano ba subject ko doon? Computer science eh. So, operating
okay.
system, ganyan.
IT
Dito ko
na
dati.
yun.
IT talaga yung ko. So yun. So I was really eyeing for a trainer career path dito sa DCO. And then when I started working in operations, doon ko nakita na ay marami palang career path na pwede punta hacking dito. Right? And then my passion talaga is troubleshooting computers eh. Tapos yun yung pinasok ko tech support. So doon ko nakita na na ay okay pang operations pala ako, hindi pala ako pang pero my first choice talaga is really becoming a trainer or learning. So answer.
How about you, Boss Katie?
Sir Diaz is my former boss, so he knows the answer. My true aspiration talaga, outside from being in operation, is to be one of the creators. Kidding aside, HR.
Ayan, no.
HR. I don't know. At certain point in my career, it came natural. While others dread case management, I enjoy it. There was a point in time wherein we had a code of conduct. I memorized every single line item in there. I was like a walking McErnie. You ask me about the violation, I'll tell you what section and what type. But I know for a fact that that's an added skill. My heart is still in operations, but given a chance and a choice that I could do this all over again, maybe that's something that I might consider, being a creator again. Alright, thank you.
For me, I think I want to go back to finance.
A
Because
banker?
I've been an agent, right? And then I got promoted to a trainer position. And then I've handled teams in operations for about 8 years. And then, I joined the support group as CE manager, right? So, since my course, my back in college is finance, and I really love, math and numbers.
And money.
me, it's the same with Jessie. I think I would be in LS department, if not HR. Because I enjoy teaching. I was a teacher before as well. So, I enjoy it. But I tried because for now, we are having license to lead, right? But it's very difficult to talk for hours. Right? So, if not HR, LS. Yeah.
Thank you. Who else has a question? Alright. Dedicate your question to one of our guests.
Hi po, Jeffrey po from Master Team. I was reading an vintage old Aspire module from OMD, and it says there, nabasa ko siya kahapon, self-directed approach for career growth is better, pero what's best should be building a network of people. My question is for Sir Jesse. How do you How do you build an effective network of people without being afraid that others might see you as sip-sip?
Very good question.
Hindi ka naman sumisip-sip niya.
So events like this would really, give you opportunity to build your network, right? You're not only interacting with your co-team leads, you're also interacting with your managers here. Attend sessions that would involve managers, senior managers, directors. That's very important because there will always be socials. When you start having socials, you start talking to people and then you learn. For me kasi mahihayin din ako and yan yung opportunity ko rin when I started. Ayoko makipag-usap kasi nahiya ako Saka hindi ko alam kung ano ba yung magiging point of conversation namin. Okay? Pero eventually, you have to do it Because especially in this industry, this is a people industry, right? When we say people industry, we need to interact with people. And we need to develop that skill. It's a skill to interact with people. And we have to overcome yung hiya-hiya. Yun. Dapat maging walang shyness. Yeah. So, I was given the opportunity kasi to meet yung mga in my previous organization to have a session across the global leaders from other countries, right? So I have two choices. Either I can just sit at the table and mind my own business, or I start talking to these people and then start learning from them what are they doing from other countries. Kasi same organization tapos different leaders, different position, same position pero different regions yung kanilang kino-cover. And then, ang maganda pa nun, we get to take calls, may mga meetings na kasama namin. And then, surprisingly, first time namin nakikita isa't isa in person. So that starts to create that conversation. Oh, finally, nice to meet you in person. Yung mga ganyang catchphrase na usually ginagamit natin, especially right now, back to office na tayo na. Ganyan ka pala sa personal, nakala ko, 7-footer. Tapos mas mataba ka pala sa personal. Naka-angulo kasi yung laptop kaya. Yeah. So yun. So you have to start that conversation and attend sessions like this so that you can interact. It's very important. People naman, especially in our industry, whether lalo na si Ovi, sila Joanne, Delodge, Andrew, they're very approachable. We're very approachable. So if you want to really have chit-chat conversations, definitely we're here to and even your managers, your SOMs, so have those conversations, right? And then start building that network.
Alright.
I hope that answers my question. Your question.
Did it answer your question, Jeff?
Yep.
Alright. We'll accommodate 2 more questions.
Question over here.
Good morning.
Good morning po. So, I think most, if not TLs inside this auditorium wants to be promoted, right? Someday, soon. But do we also consider those team leaders who have been happy in the role for X number of years as dead end? And if we do, how do we best approach them? Anyone can answer?
And before you answer, maybe it would be best to ask if it merits this, if this question merits an answer. Is there really such a thing as a career dead end, or is it just a mindset?
Anyone can answer. Who will answer the question?
Thank you, Sally.
No.
Very interesting question. But for me, it's a mindset, but it can also be your destiny if you will think that way. Diba? Parang, it's gonna be your fate. If you're gonna be thinking that, well, this is it. This is my life now, right? And I think for those TLs who are comfortable being a TL, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're still learning more than what you currently know. So it's not just about moving once, parang being promoted. It's not just about that. It can also be learning more and doing more. You can also have a new purpose as a TL. Diba? We cannot really say that when you're no longer moving up in terms of position, that's it.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I think if one person is comfortable with his or her current role, right, that's where we come in as people leaders, right? Because as people leaders, again, we need to coach, develop, and motivate our team members, right? And we need to make them realize what they are capable of, because they might not be realizing that. They might not know their skills, which you can see in them, right? So again, when we do our coaching to our team members, to make them realize, this is how you're performing, this is what I can see in you, these are your skills, these are your capabilities, and these are the career path that you may want to take in the future, right? So again, that's where we need to come in and help these team members.
Alright, so for me, partly it's a mindset. I have to agree on that. It's a mindset, but it's not a mindset brought about by your own mindset. Why do I say that? Normally, you know what you know who you are, you know your true competencies. You have your reasons, right? Some people have stayed in the role for a long time because of whatever reasons. But it becomes a mindset based on the Marites and the Tolits of the world. Right? It becomes a mindset because you become too concerned on what your peers is going to tell you. You've been in the role since for the last 10 years, how come you're not moving up? That becomes a concern and that becomes a mindset. But in your case, if you talk to yourself, look at the mirror, you have a strong sense of conviction. I made a choice. This is a choice for me. I'm not moving because that's not the end state for me. I have other things that I would want to worry about, other things that I wanted to do, or I'm moving up because this is the path that I wanted to take. In a year, in 2 years' time, I'll be a manager. A year or so after that, I'm gonna be a senior manager, right? After 10 years, I'll buy tennis. You could have that aspiration, right? But your personal aspiration, your personal take on things becomes a mindset because of the pressure coming from people around you. You're too concerned on what they're going to say. That's it.
Thank you.
Very well said. Alright, we'll have the last question from this side.
Yeah. I'll ask Derek. Right. So I know that once you look at us,
you can see us. You're younger, career-wise, you're a younger version, right? So if you're gonna be talking to us, your younger version, right? Your younger self, what would you tell us on what to do differently so we can become successful?
What will you tell your young self? So like, if FTS is your young self, what would you tell them to be successful?
So number one, I'll tell if I'm you guys right now, what I'll tell is continue to learn. There's a lot of development training like yung ating license to lead. So, lead to lead sasabihin ko, license to lead. Ayan. So, we have license to lead that would help you develop your leadership skills. And then, this is also like what I shared earlier, right? This is also an opportunity for you to meet other team leaders from other sides to expand your network. Right? You may not need them now, but in the future, you wouldn't know whether you'll be working with them in the future. Second, having a career conversation with your manager so that they can also assess you. Sometimes you don't know your career path, and then you can have your conversation. How do you see me, OM, in terms of my position? What do you think will be the best career for you? And then you try to check yourself. Kasi nagkaroon din ako ng crisis in my life that I don't know which career path I wanted to choose. And diba sabi ko nga, I wanted to be a trainer, and then I wanted to be a team leader. Parang gusto ko lahat. Pero syempre, you can only choose one, right? So you have to weigh in things. So yan yung mga advices. And then lastly, syempre, how can you help yourself become better? Yan. And then, yun. And then, basta pinaka-importante talaga having a conversation with your manager because your manager will be your number one promoter to you. That's very important. If your manager is your promoter, it will be an easy pitch or an easy sell for you to apply for an open role. Or if your manager plans to move out of the organization, ikaw yung i-recommend niya kapalit. Right? So, very important yan. Make your manager become your promoter. So, yan yung mga advice. And yun yung mga bagay na ginawa ko dito.
Yes, that's a sponsorship, guys. Find your sponsor.
Alright, I know we have a lot of folks here who'd still like to ask questions, but unfortunately we have to cut it down so we can continue with our next activity. Again, thank you our guests. Thank you so much. Very insightful and a lot of takeaways today.
Yes, so many takeaways. Always fun to learn and
Thank you.
See the side of someone else's ideas on leadership. Thank you so much. So, Erin?
Okay, moving on to the next portion of this program. So when you entered the room, you were provided with a stub with your group number. So we will use that